Satan needs God's permission to afflict saints. Okay? And this is such a good thing to have anchored in your mind, that he needs God's permission. So anytime you think, oh man, the devil's doing this, God gave the devil permission to do it. He allowed him to do it. Which means God is still in control. And you're not just thrown to the wolves and God is like, oh, I'll just, let the devil do whatever he wants. Oh, I didn't know he was going to do. Do you think God's surprised? Oh man, I didn't know the devil was doing that to my child. You say you're a child of God? You're born again? And yet you think that God doesn't know or didn't give permission to allow the devil to do what he's doing? That's crazy. Let's read about it in Scripture. Job chapter 1, verse 9. Then Satan answered the Lord and said, doth Job fear God for naught? Hast not thou made a hedge about him, and about his house, and about all that he hath on every side? Thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land. But put forth thine hand now, and touch all that he hath, and he will curse thee to thy face. And the Lord said unto Satan, Behold, all that he hath is in thy power. So what do we learn here? Satan admitted that there was a hedge of protection around Job, and that God put there to block the devil. He admitted that. He saw it. He knew it. He said there's a hedge of protection. He said, of course Job fears you, because you put a hedge about him. You're protecting him. And I can't get in there, and I can't touch him. That's why he fears you. Satan could not get to Job without asking God's permission to take away the hedge. He needed permission. Satan can't get through the hedge without God's permission. Do you understand what I'm saying here? Because this still applies today. And this concept of a hedge is in the Bible. Satan cannot, get this statement down in your mind. Burn it in your heart and your mind. Satan cannot touch you without God's permission. The devil cannot touch you without God's permission. Make sure we get that down. The concept of a hedge of protection is also spoken of in Isaiah. God had a hedge around Israel. After they kept rebelling against him, God removed the hedge of protection as a judgment on them for their sins. Look at this, Isaiah chapter 5, verse 5. And now go to, I will tell you what I will do to my vineyard. I will take away the hedge thereof, and it shall be eaten up, and break down the wall thereof, and it shall be trodden down. And in that passage, the vineyard is Israel. Okay, multiple times in the Bible, God compares the vineyard, Israel, to the vineyard. Okay, but anyways, he says, if you read that passage, go to Isaiah chapter 5. You read all the verses around it. You'll see God is saying, because of all their sin, I will take away the hedge. And because the hedge is taken away, then it'll be trodden down. They'll be destroyed. The protection's taken away. So there's the hedge. We see another example of asking permission with the devil's asking Jesus to go into the herd of the pigs. Okay, so we see another example of Satan's kingdom. Anyone, not just the devil himself, anyone else, any other devil, they all have to get permission to afflict you, to do anything. Okay, so Matthew chapter 8, verse 28, what happened? And when Jesus was come, he was come to the other side into the country of the Gergesenes. There met him two possessed with devils, coming out of the tombs, exceeding fierce, so that no man might pass by that way. And behold, they cried out, saying, What have we to do with thee, Jesus, thou Son of God? Art thou come hither to torment us before the time? And there was a good way off from them a herd of many swine feeding. So the devils besought him, saying, If thou cast us out, suffer us to go away into the herd of swine. And he said unto them, go. And guess what? The devils obeyed Jesus. And they left those men. They left the man with the legion. And they went into the herd of pigs. But before they left, Jesus was already saying, you're coming out of them. You're coming out of that guy, right? But before they went anywhere to decide where, they said, well, can we go here? And he says, go. They needed permission. Satan and his kingdom have to ask permission. And so that is something that you should have down as the truth in your everyday life today, now, modern day times. All right? And the next point that I wanted to make, which comes right after that, not only does Satan have to ask permission to afflict saints, but also what Satan is allowed to do is limited by God. He can't just do, just because he gets permission by God doesn't mean he can do whatever he wants. No, his power is still limited. Job chapter 1 verse 12. And the Lord said unto Satan, behold, all that he hath is in thy power. Only upon himself put not forth thine hand. So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord. Okay, so remember, Satan said, take away the hedge, and he'll curse you to your face. And God said, okay, I'll give you permission. All that he has is in your power. Everything that he owns, everything that he has. You can hurt his animals, his children, everything that he has, but you can't touch him. And that was the limitation. After God gave permission, he put a limitation on it. He put the devil on a chain. The dragon on a chain. God told Satan that he could destroy his animals and children, but he could not touch Job. Then no, that's your limitation. And guess what? Satan obeyed it. He had to. He did not violate it, did not touch Job. Even after Satan is given permission to afflict saints, it is still not a blank check to do whatever he wants. The devil is still bound to certain parameters. The dragon is on a chain, and God can yank that chain at any moment he wants and say, nope, no further. Anytime that the devil tries to go outside those bounds, God's got him on that chain. He'll yank it and stop him. He cannot go beyond the limitation that God has set. And you need to get that truth down, because it is so important for you to understand this. Let's look at another example with Job. What we read. Job chapter 2. Job chapter 2 verse 4. And Satan answered the Lord and said, skin for skin. Yea, all that a man hath will he give for his life. But put forth thine hand now, touch his bone, his flesh, and he will curse thee to thy face. And the Lord said unto Satan, behold, he is in thine hand, but save his life. Again, God gives him permission. Okay, now you can touch him, and he afflicts him with boils, right? You can give him disease, give him the boils, but you cannot kill him. You must save his life. That's the permission. That's the dragon on a chain. He said, you can't, I give you permission, but only to a certain extent. And you're going to be stopped. Once again, God gave the devil permission to afflict Job by giving him boils, but Satan was limited by God in that he was not allowed to kill Job. That was the limitation, okay? So that point is so crucial for us to get down. Is that, as the title of the message says, the dragon on a chain. Satan is on a chain. God limits Satan's power. And it is not a free-for-all. And so, if you're afflicted sometimes, yes, Satan is allowed to do it. Yes, he has to get God's permission to do it. And it is limited. And so, these truths are so important for us to get down. And guess what? If you get these truths down, brings me to the next point. It should bring comfort to you that God is in control. Okay? If you get these truths down, that Satan's allowed to afflict saints, but he has to get God's permission, and his power is limited, that should bring comfort to you. And you should think, you know what? No matter what happens, I still know God is in control. No matter what negative things happen.